Remember, you are ultimately responsible for protecting yourself and for providing for yourself. Live your life with honor and integrity, and always be the wolf hunter. Don't be the sheep, nor the wolf. Hey folks, welcome to Ethical Preparedness. I like to, as much as possible, to try to get as much firearms training that I can in. Unfortunately, due to work and family and home chores, I'm not able to get out on the range as much as I'd like. But in my firearms training, I like to incorporate movement and use of cover and or concealment and transition drills and voice commands and communication and even medical assistance. I like to incorporate movement in my training because I want to train myself to automatically move and not make myself such a stationary and easy to hit target for my suspect. I also like to incorporate the use of cover and or concealment, preferably cover, so that I will automatically try to move to something that may assist in stopping the bad guy's bullets that may be coming my way. Or if the bad guy is coming at me with an edged weapon, then a barrier between us may cause them to have to negotiate that barrier, which in turn gives me that split second longer that I need to stop his attack. In these videos, the drums represent some kind of cover, whether it would be a solid brick wall, a tree, or an engine block, or whatever. But I also like to incorporate transition drills into my training. In law enforcement, if a suspect is known to be armed, then we will respond with our long guns, and our handguns then become backup weapons. However, if our long gun malfunctions or we run out of ammunition, then we need to practice transitioning to our handguns so to cover our butts until the situation is over or until we can get that rifle reloaded or the malfunction cleared or whatever the issue was. I also like to incorporate the use of voice commands so that I automatically give them when confronted with a deadly threat.
Hell no! What do you want to see my hands for?
Let me see your hands!
I didn't do anything!
Let me see your hands!
You have no right to ask me what to do! Gun!
First, state laws usually demands the use of verbal warnings, if possible, prior to using force against a suspect. Second, you do want to, again, if possible, to warn an opponent of what will happen to him if he doesn't choose a different course of action. Third, if you end up in court over a shooting, you want witnesses to testify that they heard you yell at the suspect to drop his weapon or to stop or whatever, and then they heard the shots. Testimony like this will back up your version of the events in court. And like I always say, or like I usually say in my videos, you want to ensure that any force that you take against a bad guy is only because you absolutely had to in order to protect yourself. And fourth, in a deadly force situation, you're going to have that holy crap moment. And you probably won't remember to do something unless you've practiced it so much that it becomes motor muscle memory. So by practicing voice commands every time you draw your weapon, that will assist you in automatically yelling out these commands should a true deadly force situation happen. And like I stated earlier, I also like to incorporate the use of communication in my firearms training. As a law enforcement officer, no other responding units are going to know what is happening until I broadcast it over the radio. I want responding units to have a good idea of what's going on before they arrive to the scene. And I also want to request medical help for my downed suspect, and we always have to request a supervisor to respond to a situation like that. As a prepper, it wouldn't hurt to incorporate the use of communication in your training too. For normal life, you can train to take out your cell phone and simulate calling 911. Simulate telling the dispatcher what your location is, and that you were forced to shoot somebody, and that you were in fear for your life, and to give a good description of your clothing so the responding officers know who you are when they arrive. Now folks, please realize that when I say simulate calling 911, that I don't actually mean calling 911. I mean to take your phone out and simulate as if you had dialed 911 and simulate talking to the non-existent emergency operator. But it also wouldn't hurt to practice communications like this with your retreat group if you belong to a group.
Awesome, man.
If your group practice patrols around your retreat area, this is great training to incorporate, because you can practice radioing to the rest of your retreat group that you just shot an armed intruder and what your location is at the retreat area. You have to remember, if this was a true SHTF situation, nobody else in your retreat group is going to know what happened until you put it over the group's radio. The rest of your retreat group is probably only going to hear gunshots in the distance and may not even be able to tell which direction the gunshots came from. If your retreat group does practice with radios like this, I would highly suggest that you transmit a short message just prior to the start of the exercise that states that this is a training scenario and not a real event. Even with all the different radios and hundreds of channels that are open to use out there, you never know when somebody can hear your transmissions and go into freak out mode over it. And lastly, I also incorporate stating over the radio that I'll be beginning first aid on the suspect when I'm able to. This is done because police radio channels are usually recorded, and that radio traffic is usually introduced into evidence in court after a police action shooting. So having a recorded transmission from you saying that you're going to start medical assistance to the downed suspect helps to show that you weren't just trying to kill the guy, but just trying to stop his deadly assault. Again, we should never shoot somebody just to kill them. We shoot to stop their deadly actions, and if we can save their life afterwards, then we do. Now, there's always going to be people out there that's going to say, hey, a dead man can't testify, or a dead man can't sue, or something similar to that. You have to remember, this scumbag criminal that just tried to kill you will suddenly have relatives. Relatives that didn't give two snots about him before. These relatives will suddenly come crawling out of the woodwork to try to sue you. And there would also be plenty of greedy lawyers that would be contacting them in hopes of cashing in also. Like I've said in my past videos, deadly force events are fast and rapidly evolving situations where a person has to make split-second decisions on what to do. Doing drills like this repeatedly will help put into motor muscle memory of actions that you should automatically do in a deadly force situation. Now, folks, I'm not trying to portray this as the best firearms training out there. I just believe that training like this just beats the heck out of the standard point-and-shoot type of firearms training that you see a lot of people doing. This is just some simple dynamic shooting drills that we did with the little equipment that we had. And like I've said in some of my past videos, please remember, the preservation of life is of the utmost importance. Shoot only to save a life, never just to take a life. And deadly force should always be a last resort, and never just a convenient option. Real quick, I'd also like to give a quick shout out to the American Preppers Network. They have a ton of good information on their website, along with weekly emails if you sign up for them. They also regularly give you heads up on free ebook downloads that deal with prepping. And the section that particularly helped me when I first got into preparedness was their section that helps you to find other preppers in your area. This ultimately allowed me to find other preppers in my area, where I ended up getting invited into an existing retreat group that was already made up of good, upright, and experienced preppers. So check them out, folks, and I'll put the link to their website in the description box below. Folks, if you like this video and found it to be informative, please like this video and comment below and subscribe to this channel, as I plan on making more videos down the road. And if you made it this far, folks, thank you very much for watching, and have a good night.